So I just wanted to introduce you to the best guitars you can ever buy. One of the best guitars that I've ever bought. And the story is, I bought this guitar, don't know, 6 years ago, I say. Just really to find out what, whether an old guitar, I thought a cheap old guitar, what it would offer, It's this whole thing about old wood and, whether it all makes a difference. Yeah, so I bought the guitar and I had to restore it. So I didn't know anything about whether it was okay or not. I just thought, it was a bit of fun, isn't it? It didn't cost too much money. I thought, try and restore it as well as I can. Restore it so that it just works as a guitar, So without any form of expectations. Sort of the objective was to use modern equipment where it was possible. The old stuff, the old stuff's the wood, isn't it? The wood and the pickups. The pickups were probably the most surprising result of the whole thing. But the guitars, the make is called Musima, so Musima, and the pickups are called Simeto, Simeto. So they were built in East Germany during the time that there was in East Germany, as a sort of, this sort of communist community business concept. So there were a couple of these companies in the same area, and say, they built the body and didn't have enough necks for an order or something. They just go down the road and get a neck off the other company, check it out. So you find these where there's a mix of these different types of guitars, but all from the same area. The build qualities, I suppose you class it as functional, The technology of the guitar is quite old. It's 1960s, when people were still, deciding how to build guitars and develop them. So my first job was to take it apart. The body's always kind of showing problems where the glue joints have come apart. It's fairly easy to repair, around the neck joint area. Maybe get it on the sides here, somewhere. I think this one was okay. But the neck area was definitely completely loose. So you just, get some decent wood glue and glue it together. Just gotta know where, what it's gotta look like, but it's not that complicated. So the neck, the neck is what it is. The biggest problem on old guitars, especially sort of the cheaper versions, is that the playing surface, or the neck itself, is usually warped from having strings on it for 50, 60 years in all sorts of conditions, damp conditions. And so, but you can solve the problem where you take all the frets off and sand the fingerboard flat. You sand it perfectly flat. As long as there's enough fingerboard on it, it's no problem. Well, obviously here, it's a big lump of wood, so there's plenty of room there. The timber itself for the fingerboard is rosewood, but it's a very good quality rosewood. They weren't worrying about optimizing production at those times. They had access to this sort of timber. They had access to timber. It's not a big issue. They weren't buying it probably from from Brazil or, you know, exotic places. They were just using timber that they could access where they are, and it was very, very good quality. These are experts, you know, at, you know, timber and you know, furniture building and things like that, you know. So you got good wood in there. I think that's the one thing I sort of recognise. First of all, the joints come apart, but that's just an aging process. But when it's back together, they're gonna miss. It just feels good. So I've sanded the fingerboard flat, and I've put new frets in it. I mean, the frets that were on there they were almost non-existent. As I don't know what size they were when they first put them on, but they weren't much bigger than when I had it. You know, 60 years later. I mean, they were so flat you couldn't flatten them anymore. There was nothing there it was just like, it was almost like a fretless. But you know, I guess it worked in those days. But I mean, the point is, as long as they're positioned correctly, so you get an accurate note from it, that's okay. So I've put good quality medium jumbo frets on there because I'm going to put big strings on here. It's a big sounding guitar, almost like an acoustic guitar. The one fault I have noticed is the dot 3. This dot's in the wrong place, for instance. It should be on the 5th, essentially the 5th fret, isn't it? Or the 17th fret, yeah. So I don't know whether it's on purpose, but I don't think so. I think it should be on the 5th position, because I sort of go up here sometimes and I'm kind of looking for this 5th position, and yeah, it's not the same as it normally would be. So yeah, so I've got new frets in here. I cut you haven't got a nut on here, you've got this 0 fret, which is okay. It gives you a very good action at the front end, and you get the same sound of everything there. So you haven't got a bone nut, if you like, or a plastic nut affecting the sound. You've always got the same sound because everything's being played off the frets. So you're always getting a fretted sound, if you like. And yeah, so I'm not just the guide here. That's all it is. And the original guide was broken, so I mean, I just actually carving out a bone. Yeah, you know, it's just rigid and just gives it a rigid, more rigid construction, I would say. I'll put new tuners on there. Not medium quality, but I probably paid about €40 for them. Shala tuners, and they work really nice. When they do really work nice and fit directly in here. I don't think I had to drill the holes. I think the holes are the right size. So I've got good tuners on it. I've got good frets. I've got a flat fretboard. And then you're thinking, well, you know, adjusting the truss rod. Because normally when you're setting a guitar up, you're going to adjust the truss rod. There ain't no truss rod. Which is like, when I bought the guitar, I'm thinking, I've got a truss rod. That's a bit weird. What am I going to do about that? You know, because you can't control the shape of the neck. And then I sort of realised, when I tried to put a capo on it, you can't actually get a capo on it because the thing is so thick. It's like a baseball bat. It is thick and it's square. It's not round, it's square. It's so thick that it's like it's square because it's so thick. And obviously what that means is the neck doesn't bend. It just doesn't bend. You don't get. So you just have to raise the strings up a bit to allow them to vibrate in the middle. That's the whole point with a truss rod, is you put a bit of an arc on the neck, you know. But this doesn't arc. So what else have I got? Oh yeah, so I bought a new bridge for it, you know. I mean, it's no big deal, is it? You know, just get a decent bridge for it. The electronics, I've had all the electronics out and completely rewired it. I mean, I've kept the original pots. Probably wasn't a sensible thing to do, but all I wanted to do is get it back together again, so that it did what it's supposed to do sound-wise, you know. I'm not trying to maintain its original vintage, you know, components. I mean, it's got to function. That was the whole point. It's a functional solution, I was thinking maybe I'll put different pickups in it, maybe I'll try different pickups, see what happens, you know. But I mean, the end result is I've done a bit of work to fix. Yeah, I was trying to remember all the neck fixes. It's got a bolt that goes through here, and it was just sort of just the bolt wasn't maybe so good, so I put a nice Allen key bolt fitting on here. So I mean, it's and obviously I've sort of cleaned up all the inner surface now that it bolts to. So it's much more rigid and and a good connection. So I've got quite a good connection there. You haven't got a connection. It's only connected here, so it's not glued here onto the surface. It's like this old hollow body jazz guitar type of concept. There's no stage, so it's completely hollow. There's no support under the bridge. It's a completely hollow guitar. So then I plugged it in. Yeah, and I plugged it in with no expectations at all. The result is an incredibly clear sounding guitar. And the low sound, the low E, is just incredible. It's just got so much power. And then you go into this second position. You've got 4 positions. So the first one is just this pickup. This one's both of them. There's a bit of range selected, but that is incredible. Thing with the sound, I think, thing that really makes the sound is this clarity between the strings. This bass sound, it's just incredible. Clarity is unbelievable. Block strings. Probably hard to explain how good it is. Yeah, and I can't stop playing these things. So, I don't like to sit in front of this guitar because it's very sensitive. But the problem with the neck is it's quite thin this way, so there's not much gap between the strings. So I bought the second guitar, same make, slightly different model. It's a more modern version by 2 years probably. Just so I had a spare one. I was just kind of thinking, well, if anything happens, I haven't got that sound anymore. If I'm doing a concert, I mean, I'll just mess about as in an amateur band. But if I've got a concert lined up, I don't have to switch to my Gibson ES335 or my Gretsch or a Strat or a Telecaster, because they just don't do it. They're in a room locked away, and I get them out every now and again, and it just doesn't happen. If I play with a band, it just gets lost. The sound gets lost. The ES335, nothing. It just doesn't do anything. This has got so much dynamics, maybe, as well on top of it. Beautiful tone, dynamics, and these sort of blocked. Just incredible. I just can't get it anywhere else. Can't get that sound. So it's basically a dog. I mean, it is a dog. It's bits as sort of paint. As far as the paint's concerned, and I like I marked this with just a marker pen, But it works. It's always there. But like I said, it's limited. This one. Don't say it too loud, Don't upset the guitar, but. So, I'm playing through a Fender Blues Deluxe. Clean. Yeah, it's just clean. I mean, I do play it dirty as well. You can put it into the drive mode, and it just sounds amazing. And then you put it through a tube screamer, and it sounds amazing. I kind of like this slightly dirty sound. Maybe that's what it is, part of the thing. Anyway, so I bought a second one. As a spare, purely as a spare. And so I'll get that one out now. And with there, first I want to do the different sounds. I read it, you can get write-ups about it. A lot of it's in German, a lot of it's in German really, because they're only really known in Germany. So that's just this pickup. This hit with it. I gotta be careful not. That's this pickup. That is both pickups. You get a great rhythm sound. Lead. I don't know. I find between these two positions. Lead cuts through, but it cuts through anything anyway. Whether in rhythm mode, you get that sort of mellowy. You can do it with the lead on. So anyway, and then you got these other two. One of them's it's just filters on. They got capacitor filters. I got the original capacitors on. I haven't removed any of that. The switch is the same as original. This goes extremely thin. Oh yeah. So I think this is. I don't know what it's for. I don't know what you could use it for. Maybe if you don't know the song, you could put it on that one so nobody hears what you're playing. And then this one is, apparently it's called the banjo song. When everybody wants a banjo song. But I'd rather go this. Killer sound. So I'll look at the other one now. Yeah, so I mean I'll explain the similarities and the differences. I mean the pickup functions are the same, yeah. And the pots are the same. Don't know what they're for. I always got them on full anyway. This one's a bit knackered. I got to replace this one. But yeah, it just sort of stays in that position. Don't have to touch it. You play. If you want it to be loud, you just play hard, and if you want to be quiet, you just play soft. And it's just got that dynamic in it. Just got it. So I've got exactly the same pickups. I've actually got a roller bridge on here. This is all replacement. There's a replacement roller bridge. Electronics, I've taken them all out a couple of years ago now. So I mean, I should have changed the pots and stuff like that. It's probably my next job. I might even look at possibly, using a switch to select properly, so I do get, because I haven't got a position where I just got the neck pickup. It doesn't exist. Might even, you know, level 3 of amazing sound, but yeah. It's got a vibrato on here. The vibrato, I've got it here with it. That is. So the bass player in my band made this for me because the old one was broken. It's a lump of stainless steel. Yeah, so I'm going to lock in that on, yeah? So I just sort of put it in that sort of position. And I've got it then. Look at that. Look at that. Thing is, I'm just afraid it's going to like damage it either, because there's quite a lot of, there's a lot of pressure gets put on here. So I'm not convinced this is a good idea. I'm a bit afraid to use it. So I'm really grateful that my bass player Dominic built it for me. But I'm unfortunately a bit, maybe just light, you know. But it's quite dangerous to catch your hand on it. Break your hand on it. It's a proper bit of German stainless steel, isn't it? Yeah, so this guitar, it's essentially the same. I mean, I just bought it presuming it was the same. I didn't think much about it. And but there are slight differences. The neck fixing, there's 2 screws under here, which I've sort of had to put some guides in there, because the wood's, due to aging, has spread a bit, so you're not getting a good connection anymore. So I've put some sort of adapters, or sort of adapters in there to sort of fill it out and fix it into the wood better. I had to put a block of wood on. There's actually a block of wood just in here to get the neck to the right position. I don't know. I always wonder with these old guitars, they're never the same. I don't think, if you had 20 of these guitars, they'd all be slightly different. So I don't know how this could ever have worked really, because either you had a really high action or the strings were slapping against the pickups. Anyway, it's good now. It's got a bigger head on it. It's actually got a truss rod. Yeah. And it's much wider. It's almost too wide. And it's wider than normal. I've got an action on it that I want, I feel like. I could possibly make it lower, but I'm still trying to keep this, like the sort of acoustic side of it in the sound, you know? Don't know why, but I don't want it sort of really low and, maybe it just doesn't sound the same. It sounds slightly muffled, I guess, yeah. Here we've got a nice clear sort of acoustically sound. Obviously, it's not through the amp. It's very powerful, yeah. So you can't buy that sound, you just can't. You can't say, go to a Gibson, and I'll have a guitar sound like that. Can't do it. So there's a bit of a curse really, because all the guitars I got to sell them. I'm selling them, but I just can't play them. I've done the same work on this one, so I put the same tuners on here, and the fretboard. Put new frets in the same ones I've got in the other one because they just work. It just works. You got quite a good height on it. Yeah, so you can bend really well on it. So we've got sound. We've got playing. I mean, it's slightly out of the place here than the Gibson. There's no doubt about it. Slightly out of the play than all the other guitars. Slightly. Only because I'm sort of keeping this. Maybe I'll be brave one day and just lower the bridge a bit. But what tends to happen is the neck does move. There's a slight movement in the neck, so I can maybe, you know, if something happens, if it bangs against something, it goes out of tune. So the neck's definitely moving slightly, so I can tune it up, and then it's stable. And the tuning stability is also, for the age of the guitar, really good. I think possibly partly due to the fact that the wood's so settled, you know. One of the most important things about these guitars is the connection. They're just it's just something. There's like a soul of the guitar. It's got like a story to tell, you know. They were built behind, you know, the wall. The guitars are well known in East Germany and Russia, and if you go onto onto YouTube to some of the you know, and search for a Musima guitar, there's Russians sort of playing them, you know. Have you never seen them? I've never seen them before. Nobody knows anything about it apart from Russia and sort of the old east side of Germany. Nobody knows about it. Anyway, yeah, I'm totally blown away by the thing. And obviously, I've got this one now. This is my third one, and the reason I got the third one is the first one I've got, I've used it for slides because it's quite good with the because the neck's not so wide, so it's quite good for slide, you know. Yeah, so it's kind of it's all good, you're not going anywhere. It's my slide guitar, so I'll probably put some other strings on it to make it a bit more suitable for slide, but it just fits it. You've got the block neck on there, and it just fits slide guitar playing. So then I've only got this one for normal, so if I'm playing, you know, 90% of the songs I haven't got any slide in it, so I need the other guitar. And if anything happens to it, I mean, so you can have simple things where, you know, just the pots break down and you've got a concert the next day, or, you know, the night itself, you've got no, I could go home and get my US335, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm afraid of ever having to get on stage with anything other than these just have got a soul that you can't buy. So this one, I've actually done quite a lot of work on it already. The problem is that there's ribs here that run along here, basically to support the stress coming from the bridge. And one of the ribs wasn't there. I didn't really know. I didn't notice it or anything. But luckily, I did. You know, so I don't know why. It wasn't in there. It's not like they'd left it in there. I actually bought it as like that. And that's what it looked like when I bought it, without the Bixby. And I just luckily noticed it. Otherwise, I'd have been stringing it up without a supporting rib in here. So I've actually had to take the back off this completely, because I couldn't get in there to do the rib without getting in the back. So I've actually cut two new ribs, left and right. So it kind of come across like a bit of a softwood. Maybe it's supposed to be, I don't know. But when it's split, you know, with a hardwood, you've got fine grain, so they tend not to. You wouldn't get that happening. But this was the second one that was in there is split. I've got it somewhere. There she is, and obviously I could use that as a guide for the other ones, yeah. Yeah, Musima 1655, that's the model of these, basically. Yeah, so I've had the back off, glued a new rib in, put the back on. The frets on this guitar are sort of okay. and the neck looks sort of okay. But I should do it really. It's, you know, I should put new frets on it. Start fresh with a nice flat surface. The difference is with this one is, well, I'm going to put the tuners. I got the tuners already, so I'm going to put this exactly the same tuners, these shallow tuners on there. What I'm doing with this is I'm putting a Brigsby on here. The Brigsby tends to spread the load. It's a nice old one as well, from probably from the 60s or 70s. I think it fits the style. And then pickup wise, I'm going to do something, a bit of an experiment. Is put P90s on there. So I've got a Gibson P90, and I've got a P90 that I built myself. So I bought the bobbin. You can buy the bobbin from a supplier here in Germany, and I wound, it's hot wound as well. So I think it's 12k. So it's quite hot. Yeah, I'm gonna fit them on here. So I think them could probably. I still can't understand why these Simeto pickups are so good. They're single coils, you know. I guess they got a bit of a P90 thing going on there. So I'm hoping that when I do put the P90s on here, I'll possibly get the same results. That sort of warm clarity you'd expect from a P90. Yeah, that's it. That's the crack. Yeah. I don't know what's moving around in there. Oh, might be falling apart. I mean, it's the other good thing with old guitars like this. If it does fall apart, it's not a bit, you know, thing, but you can glue it back together again. Just glue it, get some glue, and don't know. It won't change the sound that much. And if it sounds that good at the beginning, you're not going to do much to get away from that sound. So yeah, so that's one theme. And the worst that can happen, you put it on the wall and leave it on the wall. It looks amazing on the wall anyway. So, cheers.